Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Kaga, and we're going to start right off with the very beginning of the German battleships in the latest patch of World of Warships, and we're starting off at Tier 3 with the Nassau. So, what is this warship? Look, with its 12 guns in 6 twin-mounted turrets, it looks a lot like the Kawachi, the same tiered battleship in the Japanese tree. And you'd be right, the configuration's very similar. It's got the same shotgun approach, and, you know, you spend a lot of time watching your shells go everywhere, but, you know, that's kind of what we expect of battleships, low-tier battleships especially. So, these guns are, I'd have to say, they're not the reason why you like to play the Nassau. For me, one of the strengths of the Nassau, well, I'll give you a hint. The guns are, on their own, they're not the strength of this ship. So, well, what are its strengths? And for me, it comes right down to the armor and the format. So, the armor on this ship is, you know, by Tier 3 standards, it's impressive. I mean, we're talking, you know, like 200 millimeters at its thickest, and, you know, it does the job. I would imagine it would do its job better in a matchmaker not completely flooded with, you know, other Nassaus. Because, you know, World of Nassau is a thing right now, as is World of Kaiser and World of Koenig. But I'm not going to talk too much about the matchmaker. It's just a thing, and, you know, people get into the groove about the new ships and go, oh yeah, I have to have it. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the format a little bit, and it's got to do with that mixture of both the range of these guns and where they're placed. For me, the fact that I can get the range on this up to about 10 kilometers, and it's in these types of fighting parapets, if you will, is a strength for me. Because I don't have to turn the full broadside of the ship to get the guns around. I don't have to, how shall I say, maneuver more than I really want to service a target, because there are guns everywhere. We can do this. It's like a St. Louis, except better than a St. Louis, you know, because it's got armor and punchy guns. Yeah, I know that it's less accurate than a St. Louis, but I don't care. It's more satisfying. And I know when I played the Kawachi, I didn't really quite understand how to make use of this format the same way I do now, and I would like to demonstrate that a little bit later on. How I would recommend using this to your advantage, regardless of whether you're looking at, you know, countering your cruiser threats, countering battleship threats, countering destroyer threats. This thing's Tier 3, it rarely ever sees aircraft carriers, so let's not worry about that one. Heaven forbid that you actually see that. But, anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about why I have to imagine that this is the Tier 3 battleship everyone has always wanted. It's got reasonably strong armor, it's got reasonable secondary armament, it has okay primary armament, but it's also, all of it's usable in these formats. It's not like the Kawachi, which for it to save its life. It just cannot bring its guns to bear. Or like the South Carolina, arguably, yes, it's got punchy guns. Good luck bringing them to bear on any target because of the way it turns the turrets, how slow the ship is to turn. And generally speaking, this format is fairly useful because we can adapt very readily to this low-tier battlefield. And I imagine that even after the hype train from the introduction of these new ships dies away, the Nassau will continue to be a fan favorite moving forward, unless it gets hit with the Nerf hammer. But then again, it is kind of like a giant middle finger to many of the low-tier cruisers, particularly like the Kolberg. What's that tier 3 Russian one that just, oh yeah, the Bogatyr. It gets melted by this thing. But it depends. How strictly do we want to stick to the rock, paper, scissors model? I don't know. Anyway, so just to explain a little bit more about what I decided to do in the gameplay right here is, the enemy was about to capture Charlie, and I decided that being closer to Bravo, it was a strategically important maneuver for me to actually go into Bravo, capture it, to keep the relative point separation between the two teams more or less in a position where we can come back from that. And, you know, that was before that enemy battleship got nuked. So here we are. We're now one cap, both sides, one cap neutral. Let's move into the alpha point now. And I know you sit back and you going, well, capping isn't a great way to have fun, right? You're in a low-tier battleship, you're sailing around, the things are slow. There's no way to conceal that. They're slow. But while they are slow, it doesn't mean that you can't cap. The low-tier maps are nice and small, so people can do this. And there's a very good reason to participate in base captures in your low-tier ships. Particularly ones that maybe you don't want to spend a lot of time in. Is that the relationship between your base capture point, the points of base capture you have, or the percentage of base capture that you have, with XP is greater than damage right now. So basically, if in this case, I've solo capped the Bravo point, I have assisted in the capture of the Alpha point, and what that means is that I'm gonna get more juicy credits and experience for this particular round, and it's gonna just make my life just that much easier, because, you know, I like it that way. It means that I can get to the ships I want to play, like the Gneisenau, the Bismarck, and those ones. I can get to them sooner. Not to say that I don't really want to play like the Kaiser. Actually, I have the Kaiser right now, and I actually quite like that ship. Oh, hello torpedoes. Oh boy, yay. Public service announcement, please watch for allies downrange of where you plan to plant torpedoes. Thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled... Again? Okay. This time I'm not dodging them from two directions, so at the very least I have the momentum to keep up the turn. Oh, RNGesus. Oh, please. Okay, we made it. Alright. For the most part, the tight turning circle on the Nassau and the reasonable rudder shift time means that you're not going to be taking a lot of torpedo hits, but you're going to want to be careful of the ones that you do. Don't take too many of them. The ship's torpedo reduction percentage is not ideal. It's like, I think 18%, 15%, somewhere in that neighborhood. So not great. But you kind of, it's one of those you have to protect against some type of damage. The German battleship seems to prefer protecting against artillery damage rather than the torpedo and fish damage. So I guess it's one of those that's a necessary thing that we must give, or that's the right word. It's 2:30 in the morning. I can't remember my own English. We must make that allowance, or make that compromise, because we can't have everything. Because if you had all the protection you'd want in there, basically what you'd have is a floating brick of lead, or floating block of steel, something like that. That type of ingot in the sea, and we all know what happens to ingots. They just fall straight to the bottom. Not really a ship anymore, is it? Anyway, so right now, oh hey, Confederate Award. Hey, that's always nice. So we're gonna just take the St. Louis under fire. We're on 3 kills. We've padded our wonderful experience gains in this match with the base captures, the assists and base captures, and of course those lovely base defenses, because those also count towards strategic objectives. I don't think they count the same way that the capture does, but it should still help get us to the next ship sooner. And that's one thing that I know a lot of people kind of still have this attitude of the no cap kill all or something like that. But if you want to play the game, and I don't mean just like, booting up the game client, but also playing the research game and being better at that, you gotta get in there and make those base captures. You gotta make those base defenses. You gotta make all those strategic actions, and you gotta make them when they count. And of course, it always helps to have your secondary batteries blazing away, because we love free heroic medals, don't we? And that seems to be the, I hate to say the strength of the German battleships, but it really does seem to be that way, is that maybe not so much with the Nassau, but its 4-kilometer secondary range is impressive. And I think the 4.3 kilometer secondary range of the Kaiser is impressive for its tier. But when you start getting to like the Koenig, the Bayern, the Gneisenau, I think even the Scharnhorst is this way as well. The Bismarck, and those higher tier ships, is that what you have is very long range secondaries. So when you get the option of extending their range through upgrade modifications, through captain skills, do it. Just do it, because with the dispersion that they're going to have outside of this withstanding, some of them are, they're 1/4 of a kilometer wide, where anywhere it will go and land in there, pop, you're not going to be sniping for enemy citadels all that often. You can't reliably do it anyway. You can attempt to do it from intermediate range, but at close range is where you want it, and having the secondary battery blazing away can just chip away the enemy's health that much faster. And it keeps them on fire most of the time, provided that we're talking, I think, like 105mm caliber and below, with the high explosive, and I think the higher calibers are armor piercing. But I'd have to double check on that one. If someone knows, please let me know in the comments down below. And now we're going to just sit back, have that end of the match moment. So we've net quite a bit of coin for this match, almost 110,000 credits. Tier 3, not too much there. 2,185 experience. Got some not nearly enough compensation for the torpedo hit from an ally. Managed to do about 84,000 damage. Not much in the way of citadels, but it's a tier 3 battleship. It sprays like a shotgun. We're not expecting that. A bunch of missions related to the Olympics had, including a free doubloon. We love free doubloons, don't you? I love free doubloons. So, got 1,456 base experience, top of the team. Not terribly surprising for our Confederate. 4 kills, and all manners of goodness in that. No surprises here. Oh yeah, and other new things in World of Warships. The Team Play addition to this menu in the detailed report tells you that, wow, almost 810,000 potential damage with 23,000 spotting damage. It actually tells us how much base capture we did. Wow. I imagine that... Okay, Not imagine... I'm having a hard time reading the, Okay, I imagine that the number that looks like the numerator is the ones that we assisted in, and the one underneath is the total, because otherwise that capture point makes 0 sense to me, because we did capture the entirety of 1 point, but then 179 doesn't make any sense either. Well, I don't know. Someone can tell me in the comments what that even means. So yeah, we got that 1,456 base experience. There was a mission out that gave us a little bit of a bonus payout, so we got some extra goodies in there. Yay, we love goodies. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the very first episode, if you will, in our little venture into the German battleships. More episodes to come as I grind through the line. I hope that you could see what I was doing. I didn't want to explain all of it because some of it is not proper play, some of it is. You will know what strikes your curiosity in so much as elements you can add to your own play, or what you think will complement your own play. Things that will make your own play better, more efficient. You will know. So please go ahead, try what you see here. Let us know back in the comments. You can go ahead, leave comments in the YouTube down here. You can always reach out on Facebook. Let me know how it works that way. Google Plus, Twitter, all the good stuff. Anyway, thank you for having bared with me for this first episode. Thank you, and have a good day.